Hello everybody and welcome to part 18 of my Salty Shaka series. There's one quick thing I want to address before we pass the turn. When we got the prompt saying that we had enough faith to make a purchase, all I did was look at Nubamba and say, oh, well, we can't buy a pagoda there yet because it's not religious, but we can go ahead and purchase a missionary with the intention of sending it up to Geneva. They're our friend, and they've been asking for Taoism. And the only reason I would see not to pursue that is because their population is high enough at this point that it's probably going to take both charges, and that's probably not the most efficient use of our faith, but it will up our gold per turn, and that's something we can do with our faith in the meantime. I don't think this is accurate because in New York, we didn't pillage this other silver, so there's signs of silver here, but that isn't actually accurate. So we'll go ahead and make sure we sell something off this turn. We're going to have to choose a construction project, so let's just do that now. Geneva has declared war on Washington. No longer friends, and they are in awe. Okay, so they were asking for faith gain. This was my intention of sending it over here, but if they're already, well, okay, I guess they're only going to be allies for 9 turns. It's going to take about that long just to get the missionary up there. It is relatively a waste. They're not going to be able to convert Buenos Aires anytime soon, so it's not like we're doing that. I don't think, I mean, we might be able to convert Jakarta because we are already pressuring Surabaya, and that will help offset what's being pushed on us or on them from here. Nevertheless, let's satisfy the city-state. It is faith gain, so that's going to be what keeps the faith rolling, which means, you know, by the time we're ready for pagodas, perhaps we have the faith to do that. Okay, this guy is on death's door, so we are going to have to pull him out. Unfortunately, with these being hills, the best we could hope for is pulling back to here. No, because if we pulled back here and pillaged, we would not be exposed to these. We'd still get bombarded, but we'd probably be able to withstand that. So that's something to think about there. Okay, I was kind of looking forward to this. This is our first archer type who has both logistics and range. I think all 3 of these have their benefits, their pros and their cons. But given that so many of our MPs are medics, I think this is the way to go. Because imagine this guy is damaged and he's standing next to a medic. He will heal because of March, and because he's standing next to a medic and healing, I think the medic contributes to that. So I think in a sea of medics, March is the way to go. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong about that. Probably should have looked it up beforehand because I knew that day was coming. Alright. So it is pretty important. We basically are trying to get our archers onto some of these hills because we should be able to fire. And it's nice that, yes, this is a hill as well. It's nice that these hills are on road because theoretically we can step and start shooting and stuff. But I do think first things first, we need to back this guy up and pillage to heal. Now, unfortunately, that uses up all his movement points, but he is healed up enough that I'm sure we can withstand 1 bombard. And that means these guys are going to be tasked with fending these guys off. And that seems like a very reasonable expectation. Let's see, he's not as promoted as this guy. So maybe we have this guy step over here, and then this guy can attack. Because either we're going to attack through, and we're going to be a little bit exposed to whatever might be up here, or we won't attack through, and then our damaged guy will be on the hill rather than the flat. We can bring this back Great General up to here just to make sure this goes off without a hitch. Okay, and we do fully conquer, which is great. Take a little bit of damage, but no big deal. It's not like we're going to attract the bombard. Although the fact that both of these guys can reach him, and perhaps whatever's coming from up here, might get the bombard. But we can pillage here, You know, we got pillages all around. It might be worthwhile to leave the horses alone just because the city is under a religion that they're deriving culture from that. And it looks like he's also got a stable built here, which if that withstands the conquering, the governor will almost certainly be working these tiles. If we lose the stable, I'm not sure. We'll have to see. Half of 14 is 7, so I would like to think that there would not be so many better tiles that we would not be working both horses, but we can check that out later. I think the scout can try and get through, because we can slam into this. Wow, this is kind of a traffic jam. This guy's mostly healed, so I'll have him come into here. That's very good. Alright, so we have a very strong presence here. Maybe that's enough to get him to back off, so we can just take Washington. We've done a lot of killing of his units over these two cities, so there's that to hope for. As for this guy, he could stand healing up, but where? We could probably step here and pillage the copper. Yes, okay. Because of the road tiles here is why I was anticipating that move. This great general's going over here. This great general probably going to cross the river. It does not look like we're going to be able to kill that, nor can we flank it. So we're just going to do a naked shot like that. It's a good exchange rate. He's still got quite a bit of health left. Maybe we can tantalize him to capture this. I'm going to come on to the horses to tantalize him, just because if something gets produced here, it's got to extend itself more than if it was here. For this reason, because I see there is a worker in the city tile as well, and we already have this worker who can come all the way to here, which is great, because we'd love to be able to repair these tiles, but we have to yield for the great general. So we're going to have 3 workers in this area, and we just don't need that many. So I think it's probably time for this guy to head back to Athens, if not actually Homeland. I know we've been sending this guy back to Homeland. We're starting to get a little backlogged because we're about to pick this up. In fact, we can do that now. Let's see, 2 and 2. This is better. And I don't know if you saw, but it was actually an increase of 4 science because of the multipliers in the city. And I do think 4 science is more important than 1 hammer. That's going to be even more lucrative once we get the trading post up there, but that's going to have to wait until the cocoa is connected. Although not really. We could cross over here and do that first. We don't need the cocoa's happiness at this moment in time. This guy's about to be finishing here. And then he could come down here, although that's not very important. Let's see, he will chop this down as he's done with that, so it'll take him, I think, 5 turns, and he would be 1, 2, 3. It's probably not worth the doubling up like that. Okay, so if this guy's going to do both, let's just go ahead and do it this way, because we already have guilds researched, right? Yeah, so it's going to be money on top of, or additional money, I should say, and that'll make the taking up 1 hammer that much better, I think. Alright, these guys are done here, and let's see. This worker made it back. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, this guy was heading down to this camp, as was this crossbowman. What I'm going to do over here is Pie Lover. You guys might know him. He's been real active at getting the comment section engaged in recent times. Had pointed out to me that because these tiles are developed and there's no city borders here, we can come back here and pillage and pick up a whole lot of gold off the ground. And so that's something that's worth doing, which is great because he's damaged. We were just going to heal him anyways. And then this guy, when he's fighting this camp, he's going to probably be damaged. So we'll have these guys clean up all this gold on the ground since it's basically free. Okay, so we know this guy can get on the city tile here, and with machinery he can go all the way to here. This puts him in bombard range. However, I don't think that's a problem just because of how damaged this impy is. And now we know that he's going to get onto the city tile because he can get in here and go ahead of the city tile. and then this guy's going to get on the road like that. So in order to make room for him, we got to get this guy, and this guy is very damaged. So we're going to have to move him, but since he's a medic and this guy's a medic, I'd like to move them in such a way that they can cooperate next turn. And I think this guy would be able to say 1, 2 because it's a hill, and then 1, 2, 3 because it's machinery and roads. If this road was in his borders, we wouldn't be able to do that, but I think he can end up on the city tile next turn. So if we have this guy step to, say, right... I was going to say right here, but let's do this. And the reason why I want to do this is because once this city's gone, we'll actually be able to pillage that silver tile, just like we were talking about outside of Greece. This will be more gold. All these improved tiles will be more gold we can pick up off the ground. We just couldn't do it now because it's in our borders, but it will not be in our borders once the city burns down. This is West Deaths, who we'll have him sit tight another turn. Have him sit tight. He's healing up there. And I just want to check in on this real quick. Yeah, it does say duplicate silver and duplicate whales. The whales are both coming from city-states, so we can't trade that away. And the silver's getting burnt down, so we have to treat it as if it's not there. Okay, this is actually good to see. Hopefully, whenever we conquer his capital, that means we can also get one more city. And I say that because the city to the southwest here is kind of going to be in our way. I think we're marching to Poland afterwards, but if we were heading to France, Atlanta would be in the way. So if we can just get that for free, that would be good. And of course, that's going to be based on how much gold Washington has to offer us in a peace deal. We'd rather have the gold, but if we can just take another city, that might be good too. Alright, banking is finished, so this means we have another caravan. And let's see here, we've got 3 that are currently feeding Ulundi, which is what we'd want. Nobamba has just grown, so this would be the first point where I think the stoneworks would be worth our build in this city, although I still think we're going to want units ahead of that. So we would not feed that. I'm going to love you still backfeeding from the acquisition of the lighthouse, so I don't think we need the help in this city. So that means the caravan, which we can just purchase, would probably be external. Wasn't there a city-state that said they wanted a trade route? Iffy, which is close to Athens. Okay, and we do have some people out and about there, so let's get into the city tile and go ahead and buy a caravan to commemorate the learning of banking. Salt and iron. So let's address that. Iron here. Oops. Wrong button on the mouse. I do that sometimes. Alright, and then salt, I believe, is duplicate. It looks like it is. And Poland is low man on the totem pole. And we're going for him next. So even though I don't think we'll get a better deal than this, we can go here because it's the happiness of the lower man. It's probably not going to punish us, and of course we just break the deal. So even if it was a bad decision, we can reassign it then. Almaty wants 1,000. They are also so populous that I don't think a single charge of a missionary would be good enough, and because these are military and we're already temporary allies with Geneva, I think I'd rather this missionary just stay on track. Unfortunately, there's a lot of rough in here. There's not many tiles available to us, although we do have embarkation now, so it's not like we'll be put out by that. Okay, so we've addressed that, and now it's research time. We are heading on towards scientific theory. Because we'll have the money to buy a public school in the capital immediately, and probably the manpower to man it immediately as well. And then we'll probably go to industrialization to try and head towards a ideology is the word I was going for there. Okay, so units time, right? Yeah, it could be argued that we would benefit from an aqueduct in the city because it's growing and it's got so much potential. But I think it'll grow fine even without an aqueduct. We are pushing a lot of food from behind, so obviously that slows down as we man these tiles. Because if I didn't feel that way, the right thing to do would have been to buy the aqueduct once we had the lighthouse and the money to do so with. I don't know. Money's so fluctuating when you're playing on it like this. Seems like you have none, and it seems like you have a lot. Of course, we're saving up for public schools. There will come a point where we want to upgrade all of our MPs to riflemen. So, yeah, it's not like we're going to run out of uses for money. So I don't think this would be a good use for that. I do think a good use of the production would be an MP. We are producing a crossbow here. We'll name that America. This city has pre-built a crossbow, so we'll build that, and we'll call that Poland, perhaps, or something. So yeah, we are on the warpath. We are backfilling as we are able. Okay, that gets us eyes onto that camp, so there's that. He's coming down to help. I should point out, because I knew we'd be cleaning up the land tiles. Every land tile you see here that looks developed has been pillaged. You can see by the red text there, so there's no reason to go back to there, but once New York burns down, speaking of which, let's make sure we snag that. We'll have this tile and this tile and this tile and that tile that we will be able to pillage. Okay, it looks like we should have him sit tight one more turn, and here we go. We can say pillage, hop up on the road, and pillage. So that's good. We'll say move, pillage, move, pillage, move, move, pillage, move, pillage, move, move, pillage. And then we'll leave all this for these guys coming back from here, probably. So it's going to take a few turns, but nevertheless, we will be able to... okay, so lots going on here. Like I said, this guy's going to be moving into the city tile. So it comes down to one of these guys is going to occupy this tile, one of these guys is going to occupy this tile. I think these all have range now, right? Range, range, and range. This is the march guy, so we should probably put him in the more forward position where this guy is. And then it really doesn't matter. Let's actually check the XP. They're very comparable. I was only looking because basically whoever occupies this tile should be able to double tap this turn. And we are within range of a great general, so let's just get to it. And now that the city tile is relinquished, this guy can escape just fine. His medic will help this guy heal up a little bit quicker, which is great. This is a guy with march, so we put him more forward, and then he moves here. So we'll be able to really dump on the city next turn. It is going down pretty fast. That's thanks to upgrading to the crossbows. So this guy is exposed, and I think if we move the Great General up here, since this guy doesn't have any damage to him, 1, 2, 3, I like that better, and I move the Great General here to make that, looks like it made it a one-shot, which is wonderful. Looks like the trebuchet came in here, which is unfortunate, but not problematic. This guy can come here. And both of these guys, one can come here, pillage, one can go 1, 2, pillage. Not that they need the health, but we're going to be wanting to pillage all these tiles for gold anyways, and this is a city we're going to keep, so let's just ruin these tiles now while we can. Yes, the Great General is exposed. In fact, this guy could back up if we want to protect against that. I think he is pretty protected because of this guy being here. But now that we have done this, we don't have any MPs in range that are so damaged that the bombard will necessarily address them. So I'll get this guy starting on the repair. We'll go ahead and attack the city while we have double flanks here. And that way this will finish repair, we pillage again, and go from there. And now this guy should be freed up to say 1, 2, pillage there. And now this guy can get started like that. That would mean this Great General should back up to here, which will leave this guy and only this guy uninfluenced by Great Generals. And that's probably fine. We could back this guy up. It looks like he's got more movement. Ultimately, we are pushing through Washington to the west for Warsaw. I will probably be examining that a little more closely off camera, but we saw in the last part that France has been losing a little military. They went to war with Greece, and in terms of science, they're not particularly a threat. So I think continuing to attack in a way that makes logistics sense is probably better. In fact, after Warsaw, we might go after the Mayans, because I think you saw in the science tree they are running out of control, and they should be easy to take. Meanwhile, don't forget that France has the Great Wall, so that's another reason to hold off on that, because that will slow us down, no matter how adequate we are. Okay, one more turn to heal up there. And you can just sit tight protecting the worker. He's going to come here for the purpose of getting on that trading post just a little bit earlier. And that is everything good to go. With the amount of damage we did here and the fact that only 2 of the crossbows, I think there's a good chance we might actually be able to take Washington this turn. So that would be superb. Okay, lots going on this turn. Let's see here. We have killed another spy. That's fantastic. This guy... Oh, looks like I accidentally gave him drill ahead of medic. So let's remedy that now. Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I was thinking a little too much about that. This is the one that we created that we will name America. So we will have him start heading over that way. It looks like Runty is in the way, so we'll go ahead and put West S back. Oh, you know what? I should have checked where this camp was before I delegated that. Luckily, it's not anywhere we need to be concerned about, so we'll come back here. West S, get out of the way so Runty can just step out for a second. Let this guy get his full movement in. Although with machinery, I don't think it would have made that big of a difference, so... Alright, so there's a new... Oh, I missed the... Alright, so I missed out on 4 food here. This guy finished last turn and wasn't paying attention to the workers, and as a result, we didn't get that in. It's unfortunate, but this is the better configuration, so let's keep on growing. You can see the city's growing very fast, which is great. As for buildings, we have finished banking, so building a bank's not a bad idea. At the same time, we are making quite the march with our main army, so I think it's really important that we continue to build units, and I would reinforce that claim by pointing out, I'm having him head here because this is the only grassland tile we have available, so we'll just buy that tile and drop it there. If we are having our main army march to Poland and then on to the Mayans, the fact that Athens is pretty exposed to France, and France has a decent military, we had already been talking about maybe building a small secondary army back here to just go take Jakarta, and I think instead what we should be doing with these extra units is stocking up in Athens so that if France does come after us, we are prepared. The main army will be back here. We can just push in if that happens. So I think all that should be covered, and I hope that explains where I'm coming from with all that. Okay, we get some iron. I did it again. What do you know? There we go. Alright. Leventa looks elsewhere. That was probably a culture thing, because we cannot do that. Okay, looks like the Mayans have started the World Congress. We will go ahead and choose World's Fair. The free policy is amazing. I don't know if we're going to have the production to spare for that, but we should definitely be prepared. I guess maybe I should have spent more time looking at that. Alright, so we know this guy's going to start the trading post, and this guy, we'll just have him hop up on the road. He can get started in homeland. This guy is about to do this. And so now the home cities, the core, however you want to look at it, I think should be relatively covered now. We do have the crossbow coming to back this guy up, which I do think is important. Simply because if this camp throws off more units, we could use... We don't want the Impy getting all beat up, trying to do everything by himself. So we'll have this guy continue heading down like so. And so we can actually spend this time to actually have this guy do a little bit of scouting. Oh, look at this, city-state border. Okay, so there's even more reason to come down here. I hadn't noticed that. So it's a good thing that's what I was talking about, because it's going to work out 1, 2. Yeah, this is the one that we were going to relocate to Athens. We're going to have to keep our eyes over there for barbarian camps that might spawn up. Since these guys are in the east, about to head back west, I think pillaging in the east and heading back west, because then he can head this direction and support this caravan when it deploys. So I think this was the path I was originally talking about taking anyways. And you can see we're picking up, it's not the most gold in the world, but it is free and it is there. And if somebody else forms a city there, it will no longer be available. So New York, last turn. Library is just flat worth more, a little bit. We'll have these guys both sit tight here, get as much healing as they can, and next turn New York will be gone, and we will start pillaging we'll start healing by pillaging these lands. In fact, this guy should be able to pillage, step, road, pillage. This guy will be able to road, pillage, road, pillage. And all of that should be cleaned up. Which is nice, because we're probably going to take Washington this turn, which means next turn the damage will have set in, and maybe we can get Atlanta in a peace deal, so we'll be losing this city as we take this one. Just in terms of happiness, remember Washington does have the Notre Dame, so the conquering of the city is going to be very profitable from a happiness standpoint. So it's time to get all our shots in. 1, 2, yeah, it's going down fast. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7's not enough to finish it. Oh, and we get range. Our last guy has range. And then there we go. And that is 1 exactly. So this weak guy can push in here. Before we do that, let's just start pillaging stuff because we can. Like this guy could come up here and pillage. As this develops, no, it looks like he has a stoneworks built. So this guy could go 1, 2, pillage. This guy could back up here, pillage. I want this guy to come over to the dies and pillage because we're not going to have that opportunity once we make peace. We're just trying to pull as much gold off the land as possible before we take the city. So let's just do that. This was a more costly maneuver. Because these roads are not ours, but obviously once we conquer Washington, it just wouldn't have even been an option. So we do it this way anyways. He does that and comes over here, and I say come over here because we don't want this guy going 1, 2 pillage, because this is actually a good tile. So let's go, whoops. We'll have this guy go 1 pillage, and then get over. We'll get the scout out of the way. Oh, look at this. We actually... no, we're going to take it to destroy it, most likely. Or it looks like this time we could have actually pillaged that. But it looks like this was worth keeping anyways. This was just a trading post, I'm guessing. So we'll head towards Poland. That looks all very, very, very good. Am I wrong? Let's see. So we conquer. There's that. We'll obviously create Puppet. And now let's take a good look at this city. Okay, Aqueduct. Not very important. Caravansary sucks. Circus and Coliseum, nice. Forge, whatever, stoneworks. Okay, we got to keep that. Looks like we didn't get to keep the stable, which is unfortunate. We get the amphitheater, that'll be nice once the city's out of resistance. Workshop, whatever. And of course Notre Dame is very good. Okay, so not the worst, not the best, no big deal. The roads are now ours though, so the Great General can go zoom all the way to the front lines. And then this guy's going to come up here and pillage. And for this reason, I think I'll have this Great General just move here just to minimize the damage. In fact, what we'll probably do next turn, because we are going to get hit, is go 1, 2 pillage, make peace, and try and pick up Atlanta in the deal. Now, the other thing we got to do, since we captured this, copper and cotton, neither one of which is going to be unique to us. So we can actually sell off the cotton right now. And if we have the happiness, we could also sell the copper in preparation of repairing this copper in 2 turns. So let's do that real quick before I forget. Is there anybody that wants both cotton and copper? Because I want to test a theory here. If we can do both of these, can we get 7 instead of 3 per? No, we can't. Okay. Somebody had mentioned that and I wanted to test it out. I thought I had tested it out before. It might be more so when you're at peace. Maybe doing 2, you get 15 instead of 7 each. I don't know. I'll test that out at my next opportunity because I do try to min-max. But for now, we'll just get this. And since we're only going to get 3 gold per turn for the copper anyways, I say let's not sell it off while we don't have a duplicate. Let's drive this golden age home. And these scouts really need to get on their game because we got to figure out what's going on with Warsaw. We got a camp here that we can melt along the way. But there we go. We are at the half-hour mark, so I'm going to go ahead and call it here. It looks like we are finally done with America, so that's great. We'll probably get Atlanta in the peace deal, unless he's got so much money that we can't say no. But I believe that covers everything for now. So please leave a like below if you feel I have earned it. Comment if you have anything to contribute, or check out the comments in case somebody else contributed in a way that you want to bounce ideas off of or contribute to. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next part. Take care.